What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Season 2 of Track Talkers.
Round 4 at High Point with the mutter at the end of the day.
Dude, High Point, like the weather there is insane that it can just go from sunny to rainy to lightning storm. Like the track did actually look really racy at the beginning of the day. You know, it was one of those races where like, man, after seeing Colorado and seeing how ruddy and like, it's not that, I mean, it was shitty in Colorado, but it was weather dependent.
Yes.
You know, that to me, Colorado was just too gnarly. High Point looked like the perfect outdoor motocross track where it had some soft spots, where it had a little more lines, but then it was like, oh, this looks really good in this section, and it was kind of flat and racy, especially those first motos.
And then, too, what I think a lot of people underestimate that haven't been there is High Point's very off-cambered. It's pretty technical as far as, like, the corners go. Yeah. And the track just seemed really racy, like you said, but a lot of lines worked. Like,
yes.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just like this one line was the fastest line. Like you could kind of go outside the box and then cut over and still make that line just as fast as the guy who had the prominent line.
Yeah, and it was kind of one of those things where in Colorado, it was super weather dependent. You know what I mean? Like they did the absolute best they could and they made a racetrack out of it.
Yeah.
You know, but it looked like to me in High Point, the weather was just right for the track. They had watered it good. They put some mulch down. You know, they mixed it into where it was like flat enough to where you could still carry some speed. Not too many lines, but enough lines to change it up. To me, High Point this weekend probably looked like one of the best High Points we've ever seen in the past and one of the best racetracks that I've seen in a long time. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, I would agree. It's always been a really good racetrack, but the conditions were good up until the last moto.
Exactly. Freaking Ty nailed it. The conditions up until the last moto, which you can't do anything about rain, were perfect race conditions where you could see a lot of switchback, a lot of passing. We want to get right into it, though. Twisted Tea smacked the competition. The big thing, I think the big question here in pro motocross right now is the inconsistency in the 250 class.
Dude,
you know,
other than Haiden Deegan,
literally
other than that one guy, like the parity and the inconsistency of everybody else is like honestly astounding.
Why do you think that is so much now compared to, like, I know there's obviously been inconsistencies in the past, but like, gosh, Hymus, you know, like he's the perfect example of like, how do you even, I mean, I know how you do it, but to go 1-1 in Colorado, the week before be
the bad ass guy
out, right? You're out the week before at Hangtown because of sickness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then in Polo, you're the fastest qualifier, and then you wad up on the first lap. Then you go 1-1 at Colorado, and now essentially we don't know the facts, but it looked like he blew his knee out again from him crying on the side of the track.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So like he's thinking his season's over.
Yep.
What is contributing to the inconsistencies in the 250s? Like, why in 2025 is it so up and down in that class?
I think it's just because Degan is making everybody get out of their comfort zone, and some kids are making too much of a jump than other ones, you know, and don't know like the right steps to get there. Because when you're jumping out of your comfort zone that much, you can't just go all out. You got to take these like little baby steps because you know how it is. Like, or I think a lot of even average viewers know, like when you ride and then you got hurt and then you get back on the bike, like you feel like you can go really fast, but your reactions are a little bit off. You're going to be a little bit slower. You got to get within the groove. Like, and Deegan's just making everybody ride at such a higher pace to get to his level to get there, that I think you see the mistakes starting to happen, and then a lot of pressure is put on the other competitions to, you know, battle with them, and they're just not being able to put two motos together throughout the day.
Yeah. And to, you know, I don't think you nailed it on the head there, to be honest, and you can yell at me all you want, but I think you were close. but I think it's the speed that everybody's bringing, because we're seeing it a little bit in the 450 class with Jett and Eli, where like if you don't get the start over Jett, you don't get the race. And I think that's what's happening in the 250. I think the depth of the 250 and the speed, Deegan's up there, but all the rest of these guys on a good day can go so fast that where the 250 guys don't have the maturity, the strength, the mental stability to be able to come from the back, not over push it, and then, weed themselves up going through the pack. Like all of a sudden, you're getting into the 250 class and you see Ty Masterpool, Jalik Swoll, Nate Thrasher, and you're battling for 10th, and you're Joe Shimoda and you should be winning. And then all of a sudden he hits one inside line coming down the hill and whop, right on the ground.
Yeah.
And then he does it again in the second moto, trying to pass, in that gully coming off that off-camber section. He hits that little G out, where it's a little softer and goes blah, 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 and bucks himself. And then all of a sudden, Joe Shimoda's on the ground. Yeah. And now with that being said, Joe Shimoda's even one of the more consistent ones this season in the 250 class. Like, let's talk about Nate Thrasher. They were saying on the broadcast that his best finish before this weekend was 18th place. Nate Thrasher. Dude, Nate is good. Like, he's a good rider. And then you have guys like Casey Cochran coming in and Jalik Swoll. We got to talk about Jalik, right? Talk about Jalik a little bit.
I mean, Jalik just came back, right, off his Achilles injury and went 14-8 and was the top Triumph racer right off the bat. I mean, yes, like the Mikael Harrop went 19-7, so, he beat Jalik in the second moto, but still, Jalik was an overall better Triumph by, one position. But still, that is, the first race back after Achilles injury when he's been off for that long. Yeah. Like, it's going to be really good to see Jalik back in the mix. I think I'd give him probably a good month, but I think he kind of set that perfect where he's going to do this race. Now he has a weekend off to like recover, get some things worked out.
His freaking foot and his calf not as sore.
Yep, and then go into Southwick. So, I mean, I look for Jalik to even start mixing it up in that 4 to 8 range. And then actually, when I was thinking about consistency, Garrett Marchbanks has been pretty consistent around that like 5 to 7 mark.
Yeah, but he has been, and we love Garrett to death. Like,
but he seems always like bad starts and then rides his way up there.
That's what I mean.
And then at the end of the moto, like he can't go anywhere because they're all super spaced out.
Yeah, let's talk about consistency. Garrett Marchbanks starts suck. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's like, if Garrett is so good right now, if you put him in the top 3, he's going to finish podium every week right now. Yeah. But he's starting in 12th and coming through the pack, and then he's gassed out. I mean, look at what happened to him in the first moto. He got passed on the last lap trying to come through the pack.
Yeah, but you know how it is. Like when you get into the later of the moto, like you don't get that kick of energy when you're passing like 1 or 2 guys. Like later in the moto, even if it is, 7th or 8th, like those guys are still ripping, but they're gonna be like 4 or 5 seconds apart.
Yeah.
And it's hard to like pass one and then be like, all right, I'm going to go get the next one. And you can barely even see him.
Yeah.
If you can't see the guy in front of you, it's a lot harder to like track his butt down and catch him and pass him.
I mean,
than if it's right after one at another, because then you get kind of in a rhythm. It was like, yeah, okay, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And shit's happening fast. When shit starts happening slow at the end of the moto, I don't care how fit you are. You're gonna either flatten
motivation.
You're gonna either flatten out or just get set in a pace, and hopefully that pace is higher than the guy you can't see in front of you.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to Jalik Swoll a little bit. I heard on the broadcast that he actually texted Eli Tomac and asked him for advice about the Achilles tendon. And he said he was surprised that Eli texted him back, which I thought was really cool. But I guess the main point that I want to talk about is like how much motivation you think it is for Jalik to go out there after getting advice from Eli Tomac. And he said that most of the advice was kind of like motivation, you know what I mean? To get back on the bike and get going. And like for you viewers out there, he was off the bike for 6 months and he was only on the bike for 2 weeks before High Point, they said?
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Oh, that's a short amount of time.
That's a short amount of time. And then to have you're texting Eli Tomac and Eli Tomac's giving you motivation, you have to think that played a little bit of a contributing factor of like, how do I go out? I better go out and do pretty damn good because maybe Eli Tomac's watching to see if I gave him good advice. You know what I mean? Right?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, you got to think that's putting a little pressure on. And two, how is the team?
I think it's good pressure though. Like,
oh yeah, good pressure because it's like something where you have something to look forward to because you know the team has expectations. The rider, he himself has expectations, right? But then when you put a guy like Eli Tomac that's kind of giving you a little bit of assistance, and I'm sure it wasn't like a crazy amount, you know, just a few texts here and there, but like really cool to kind of see that motivation. And just have that little extra boost to do well at High Point.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What do you think about Jalik's bar setup? Did you see it? It's so rolled back, bruh. Like so kid Casey Cochran. What do you think about that type of bar setup?
I tested it out where even for me as like a tall guy, and I like my bars just like rolled back just a little bit though. Yeah, but
Casey Cochran.
I know, he's like flat.
But this is kind of where I was going with that, like with Jalik and Casey Cochran. Like, isn't it funny how as you become a veteran and more advanced in your career, the bars tend to roll forward more and more and more?
Yeah, but you're talking about like a small window.
I know, but it's the small window's a small window. You roll them forward as you get older. Is that not true or false?
Bro, I feel like my bars, I've always put like a flat T-handle, like make sure my flat T-handle, bar pad all the way rolled back to the T-handle, and then like a little.
Like a tiny bit. like a millimeter.
Like even like a half a millimeter back from that, and then that's where I'm at. Okay. And then, but I feel like I can't even ride the bike if I'm not within that zone. Like I ride your bike, and I'm like, bro, your cockpit is so effed.
Yeah, it is weird riding somebody else's setup. But how much do you think the team dynamic changed over there after Jalik got back? Good.
I think it's way better.
I think it is too.
I think the whole
team's better.
Yes.
Like they needed that for the team.
Because Jalik's been with Triumph the longest out of everybody over there.
And, you know, to me, I know this sounds weird, but it felt like because Jalik did good, like Jordan Smith and Mikkel and all the rest of the guys, Jordan Smith, Mikkel, Austin Faulkner, they all like are like, all right, somebody's going to do good. Like we can take a breather for a second and try to figure this out instead of forcing the issue.
Like where's Styles Robertson at?
Dude, do we even know if he's on Triumph anymore?
Nobody
knows.
I thought you just had like a wrist injury.
Dude, we need to do a check-in. Because I haven't heard anything about him coming back. I haven't heard anything about him riding. I haven't heard anything about him being on Triumph. I haven't heard nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Okay. Well, let's jump right in. Let's jump right into the 450 class.
Hold on. Before we move on.
Okay.
I think we need to comment on one of the biggest elephants in the 250 class. Like, dude, what's going on with Juju? He qualified good. And then, bro,
dude, you want to know what's going on with Juju?
1540.
You want to know what's going on with Juju?
He hates outdoor?
No, bro. You can't go to fucking wherever the fuck dry ass track you went to and think you're going to get ready for High Point when you're a California boy. You got to go back east. You don't think he's back east for the last couple weeks?
No,
he hasn't. He showed it on his Instagram. He was testing in California. I'm pretty sure we're like Robbie Wageman and those guys test on the driest, dustiest track you've ever seen. I saw a couple ruts in a couple corners, but I'll bet that it was dry as a bone. I mean, dude. Yeah, he has got to get over the fact that he sucks at anything but more hard pack tracks.
But he qualified good.
Yeah, but you know damn well qualifying and racing are two completely different things.
Well, yeah, and we don't know how much energy he put out for that lap, you know?
Exactly. And we don't know who he was behind to get that lap or how he got that lap or anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no question in my mind that Julian Beaumer is fast AF.
Yeah, but you know what did kind of just push my buttons a little bit is when he went down and kind of like rolled out of it on how slow he got back up.
Dude, honestly, that didn't bug me at all. It didn't even bug me that he pulled off.
Bro, I'm just saying, bro, if Degan crashed like that motherfucker would be sprinting to his bike to get back on it.
Yeah, but it's totally different mindsets, right? You know,
that's what
Juju
I'm
don't have
that
mindset. He's struggling to try to figure out how to get back into the top 10 right now.
I know.
He is not mindset on points. He's mindset on why is this going on and why am I so bad at outdoor tracks? Or some of them at least.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not even in he has no, like when he went down, Degan's mindset if he went down on that jump was gotta get to the bike. I gotta get back so I can win or get the most points I can. Juju's mindset when he ate shit right there was like, fuck, I suck, dude. I can't figure this out. I just fucking ate shit again. What the fuck am I going to do? Was that not his mindset?
I mean, yeah, definitely. That's what I saw.
That's exactly what it was.
Oh, for sure.
He's trying to figure out how do I get back to the top 10.
He's all, dude, how am I going to do 20 more minutes of this?
Exactly. No chance he thought about points when he crashed. He just thought about...
He was counting the laps.
Yes, he thought about how am I going to figure out how to finish.
Yeah. How many more times do I have to get roosted?
Yeah, like he's thinking about Southwick right now. Like he was thinking about Southwick when he went down. He's like, no, how am I going to survive Southwick,
you know what he's thinking
bro?
about? He's thinking about his off weekend.
Yeah, well, he's probably thinking about Davey yelling at him all kinds of stuff, bro.
Dude, how many burpees do I got to do for this?
Yeah, the last thing he's thinking about is points, bro. Or the last thing he's thinking about is getting up and trying to get a better position.
But that's like one of those kids who, like, as soon as he does figures it out, he's going to be up there.
Julian Beaumer is fast. Like a lightning fast. He just has to figure out a few little mental issues, which he's been working on, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes or no?
I mean, I don't know. He doesn't look like it.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? But they're like...
Yep. All right. Well, let's move on.
Pen to paper, he put on paper this weekend 1540.
Not good.
The last Moto E's race, he was last.
Not good. All right. Well, the Dirt Tricks 450 class, if you need a Dirt Trick sprocket, if you need a sprocket in general, where do you go, Ty?
Dirt Tricks.
300 hours, made in the USA.
Maybe even more than 300 hours.
Yeah. We're just money back guaranteeing the 300 hours.
I wouldn't say money back guaranteed.
We are. We're money back guaranteed. Come to Track Talkers and we'll get you a new sprocket if you don't make it 300 hours. That's how confident I am on Dirt Tricks. Yes. That is not a company slogan. That's a Track Talkers slogan because we've used them and we know. Yes. Okay? When you go...
They've been tried and true.
Yes. When you go on when you have a Dirt Tricks sprocket and you take it from an adventure bike to your next adventure bike... What more to say, bro?
Hey, that's a good sprocket.
DirtTricks.com. Get your sprockets now. First thing we got to talk about is Eli Tomac turning into Chase Sexton. Wow, hit him with a heavy hammer on that one.
Bro, it sure looks like it.
Well, we do say bro a lot. But but it's just the fact that Jett makes you right out of your comfort zone.
And he lives in your head rent-free.
And he's so good at starts that he puts out the least amount of effort to be the best.
Well, and what I was thinking about as well, you're like Eli Tomac, I feel like he knows, like, if he's not in the front or ahead of Jett in those first two laps, and he's not directly behind him, that's a tough place to be when he wins that much, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the guy was 4 seconds a lap faster than AP when he was out front in the first moto. Tomac. He was putting 4 seconds on him in a lap, they said on the broadcast.
Tomac or Jett?
Tomac. when he was coming through the pack, Tomac, he put down a 204 when they were putting down 209s or 208s, whatever.
Yes, there you go. The math is mathing now.
I mean, it just goes back to Jett is so good at repeating what he does best. He just repeat. And then he makes it easy on himself. And then every time he does it, he like believes himself more. Right? And then every time Tomac doesn't, now he's believing less and less and less.
And then too, like when you put yourself in such a good position after the first moto, then look at how the whole day, like just, oh, I got third and they red flagged the race 7 minutes early. Like, oh, we're still good. I won the overall.
I mean, yeah, with no warning, just red flag.
And then you're in a good position because you won the first moto.
Because he's always in a good position. And that's the point I'm trying to make is Jett just makes it as easy as possible to win all the time.
But like, just like some kids that I've trained are at the Loretta Lynn's regional qualifier right now.
Yeah.
When you're trying to get the whole shot and you think about it too much, it almost doesn't happen because you want it so bad.
Yes, but at the same time, I think you'll agree with me, when you're trying to get the whole shot and you know you can get the whole shot, there's a big difference.
Then what's Tomac's issue then?
Tomac has doubt that he can't whole shot every time. You don't.
I think he wants the whole shot. I think he knows he needs the whole shot so bad.
And he doesn't know. In my mind.
And it's so crazy I don't even know if that's an issue because he's done it so many times. It's so crazy that he hasn't figured this out yet, in my eyes. Because he's literally raced so many races and been in so many championship fights against Dungey, Ryan Villapoto, all these guys. And I don't know, he hasn't been able to figure out like his starts yet. To be in like even in the top 5, like Moto 1, like he was way back.
Yeah. I just don't think we've ever seen anybody other than Jeremy McGrath be this good at starting up front all the time.
Yeah.
Like he just does it all the time.
I mean, even though like Jett didn't start up front in the second moto, like he still finished third.
Yeah. And like just for instance, for you guys, I'll put money that out of 1,000 tries that you had, even like a top intermediate kid, they'd whole shot once out of 1,000 tries if you got to line up and do it over and over and over again. Don't you think?
I'd probably say none.
Okay.
I remember starting with Ken Roxon at Comp Edge one time when I was intermediate and he was on his KTM.
Yeah.
And dude, he was night and day, like light years ahead of me when I was an intermediate.
Okay. So out of 1,000 tries, you're saying 0. So that goes to show the audience how hard it is just to get one, and Jett keeps doing it again and again and again and again and again and again.
I mean, I think a lot of people don't understand, like, the HRC group has put an immense amount of time into their ECU settings and their bike to get better just at starts.
Yeah, I think it has to do with the torque coming off the front.
I guarantee you, they just on starts specifically.
Yeah.
They've put an immense amount of time. And it's not like they're setting their bike up for the track and then like, oh, well, let's do a couple starts at the end of the day.
No.
They're like, all right.
1,000.
Yes. All right. Do 5 starts. Let's plug this thing back in the computer. Let's see what RPMs. Let's do this. And fucking does it.
Yeah. And I just think that I think the torque that they have to the rear wheel is just greater than anybody else on the track. I really do. You know,
and
the way that Honda set up.
I wouldn't put past any, like, where they have, like, sag they kind of have to be at for the start compared to, like, what they need on the track, too.
What do you mean?
Like, running your bike a little bit higher in the back end so it doesn't squat and wheelie off the gate.
Yeah. Like setting it up for the start and then making it work on the rest of the track. I believe you. I believe 100% because now we're seeing how much it actually matters.
Yes. And dude, they've gotten that Honda 450 figured out. I mean, both of them, both brothers, the two factory Hondas on the track are always up front.
Which you got to give them. You got to give
the flowers where the flowers. Yes, the given. Operator is on the bike and they are doing a lot of the work for sure.
Yeah,
but when you have two operators and they're still, up front, you got to put a little bit towards the machine too.
Yeah, it's very true. Very true. So now we have Eli Tomac that's in Jett Shadow.
Yeah, they still have literally lost points to Jett every single round.
Yep. Okay. Does Hunter ever come out of Jett Shadow? I know he's bigger, but he's smaller.
Yes. Dude, I was thinking about this on the drive down here when we were talking.
Yeah.
And dude, it doesn't seem like it.
No. I don't think so either. Dude, when those two got together in the first moto, like after he stalled it, Hunter looks like he gets beat by him so much that there's no shot. You know what I mean, though? Like, it just looks like it's been so long since Hunter has got him, and he just knows that Jett's going to get him at the practice track. It's just like, damn. You could see it. Because Hunter tried to put something in, and you could see how much he forced it into those insides going down the hill, and Jett just went, brah.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say, I would probably say like Jett beats Hunter a lot, but you know how it was. Like you have good days and bad days at the practice track.
Dude, I don't even know. Does Jett have a bad day?
I mean, his bad day is not that bad.
That's what I'm saying. So like it's a bad day where Hunter can just keep pace with him at the end?
Well, you got to think they're going to start Hunter out probably in front of him at a certain, at a certain time.
Which is kind of messed up. If I'm Hunter, I'm like not even practicing with my brother anymore.
Yeah, but look at how good he is.
Yeah, but you're to a point where you're so close that your motivation should be to beat him, not have to race with him every day to keep you sharp.
Bro, yeah.
Just saying.
When we were practicing together.
Yep.
We would elevate both of ourselves no matter what.
Yes, but you got to admit that when I beat you in Supercross all the time, that shit was a little demoralizing. And when you would fucking smoke my ass at outdoor, it's like, I guess I'm just not good at outdoor.
Yes, they get to a certain point, but then you feel good really like one day. And you're like, I got you, bro. I'm going to test you a little bit.
Yeah, but you got to beat him more than one day. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see Hunter ever coming out of Jett Shadow, unfortunately. I mean, I don't see a lot of people coming out of Jett Shadow. It's going to be hard for Eli to do it.
Yeah, it's going to be hard
for anybody. And Eli was 4 seconds a lap fast. I don't know if he was 4 seconds a lap faster than Jett, but at least a second faster than Jett.
Yeah, but at this point, where it's like tough because now we're getting into the rounds and kind of deep into this like championship. Where are we even going to see the best Jett against Eli, or Jett's just going to be like, oh, I'll take 2-2 for today and just, I'll only lose 6 points.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting is I did like how relaxed he was in that interview with Katie Osborne.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that one or no?
The press conference?
No, the one at the beginning of the show. The top of the show, he was on the gate.
Uh-huh.
He's like, yeah, I just got to come out here, not lose max amount of points. It's a long series. There's a lot going on. Tomac's done this. We can all talk shit. We can all say our piece.
That's what I'm saying.
Have the story of the weekend.
Bro, the HRC are basically like the Patriots right now, dude.
Straight up.
They are.
Yeah.
They're going to Belichick you. They're going to be like, yeah, you can win. You can win this weekend. We'll lose, 3 points, 6 points here. We won't even sweat it until we get down to fucking, 6 or 7 points.
So you mean Yamaha's the Patriots?
No. Honda is the Patriots. You know what I'm saying?
They're not losing any points, though. They're winning.
That's what I'm saying, though. But, like, if Tomac, let's just say Tomac is out front at Southwick.
Yeah.
And just, and Jett's in second.
Yep.
Where is there motivation for Jett to pass Eli at Southwick.
Dude, there isn't.
There's
only ego.
Jett is going to be like, oh, I'm going to back off at like 2 or 3 seconds, not get roosted by all this sand, and I'm just going to stay here.
Yeah.
They're like, we need like this championship battle to tighten up and Eli Tomac to get some hole shots.
I mean, that's the bottom line, and we kind of keep singing the same song and dance here. But if Tomac can't figure out his starts, then this championship's toast.
Yeah, it's getting
because Jett has
really
already
close.
Put himself in a position to where he can
manage. Yeah, he can just manage.
And Jett's so good at not caring about winning.
He wants to win championships.
That's what I'm saying. Jett's so good at not caring about winning the weekend and being the top dog and having the BDE. You know what I mean? It doesn't even matter for Jett. He's just like, yo, I got a points lead.
Yeah.
Yo, I got a points lead.
I still got the red plate.
I don't want to win.
What am I even sweating about?
Yeah, I don't want to win this weekend. I want to win the championship over there for the million, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about this.
Yes.
We're scoreboard, bro. Check the scoreboard.
It's true.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Brad West gets docked 10 positions. Did you see that? Off the start, he just cut it. And they docked him 10. Excessive? Like, is that excessive?
We've all thought about it.
I mean, dude, I don't know. You got bumped or, you know what I mean? Like, cut the track.
Yeah,
is that excessive or no?
Yes.
Okay. So what would be the penalty? I just had to touch on this because that's funny as hell.
Oh, no, him cutting the track was a little like, okay, bro, like you can't get away with this.
I don't
think 10 positions is excessive.
Oh, you don't?
Oh,
so 10 positions is like a good line.
Yeah.
I was thinking like 5. Or do we just like I guess 10 positions is it, right?
Well, where did he end up?
I don't know.
They docked him in the second position
no, they docked. I thought it was first moto. They docked him in the first moto, right?
The first moto makes more sense because he probably got 30th and then he got 40th.
Yeah. Homie got on the pit board. You got docked 10 positions. He's like, oh, I'm over it. Save it for the next one.
Or do you get, no, he didn't get docked 10 positions in the second moto, right?
No, he wouldn't have got top 10. I don't think so. I mean, I could be wrong, but you never know with the 7-minute cut. Yeah. Let's move on. Jorge Prado's not doing it.
No. He must be pissed. He went 12-23.
I mean, okay. So let's talk about this because was it the first moto or the second moto he got a really good start?
I
thought was it the first moto? It was the first moto.
It was the first moto.
It was the first moto. He got a really good start. He almost hole shotted. He could have had the hole shot if it was Tomac.
Mm-hmm.
Then got shuffled back real quick to about 7th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then,
shuffle back more.
We saw him try to do something with Cooper Webb, and he did not look like he was aggressive at all.
Yeah, but the thing is, bro, so Jorge Prado just finished right in front of Bryson Gardner and Freddie Norn.
I know that, but the point...
And Harry Koulos beat him.
The point I'm trying to make here is that Jorge Prado can ride that bike more aggressively. He's going to have to figure it out. I don't know if that's the American...
He just doesn't like the feeling of it.
I know that's the American way to ride more aggressive, but he needs to do something to show Cowie that, and everybody, including Jett and Eli and all those guys, that he can do it for a second.
Yeah.
Right now, we got to the point where, I was talking about, there's a bunch of shows talking about this, but he's demoralized himself.
He still has a lot of confidence when we talk to him, but I
think that might be starting to be false confidence.
Yeah, but he's got to hang on to that because if he gets demoralized, he's going to be, 10 to 12 forever.
He is. And
and when you get stuck there, it's tough.
Either way, the reason I talked about Jorge Prado and him struggling so much, right?
Yeah, but then your teammate, Jason Anderson, just went 7-7.
Thank you. They brought it to the comments, okay? Jason Anderson's looking good. Jason Anderson, after seeing what Jorge Prado's doing on that bike and seeing that he's a champion, like, what are you thinking if you're a team trying to sign somebody? I'm thinking that Jason Anderson is ripping.
Jason Anderson's got to be ripping because we have no idea where he's going to go.
At 7-7 on that Cowie, that the MXGP champion just went, what, 12-23?
Bro, I'll do this for you, bro. I'll do you one even better. I'm going to act just like you, bro. Just imagine.
I didn't say 12-23.
Just imagine,
I did not say bro that
Just
many times.
imagine if he was on the Star Racing Yamaha, bro.
Who?
Jason Anderson. He would be do top good? 5. Oh, my God, dude. He would be
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
That bike is trash.
I don't know.
Throw that thing in the dumpster.
I don't know about that, dude. I really don't. I really don't know about that at all. What do you think about Jett calling himself a fat ass?
When?
On the podium. He's like, yeah, I went in the corner. The bike was in a high gear, couldn't hold my fat ass. On the podium, dude. Just said fat ass, and you could tell right after he said it, he was like, for like just like a millisecond. Totally like the Aussie came out in him heavy real quick. Like my guy is getting comfortable up on the podium just talking, you know? Like literally said, yeah, I was in too high gear and it couldn't hold my fat ass. I love it. Relax, dude.
Hey, I love it too.
Relax. Right?
Yeah.
Why not?
100%.
Okay. Let's wrap up this whole 450 thing. We got to talk about pretty much AP really coming to his own. AP, the sickest goggle swap and wipe off the face goggle transfer I've ever seen in my life. And the unannounced red flag.
Yes.
Where do you want to start?
Well, let's talk about with the red flag because obviously there's people that are talking about the red flag.
Yeah.
Right? They'd be like, hey, you think we should pull the red flag? Oh, what do you think about, this is where the storm's at. This is where this is at. We're getting into the 8-mile mark on, Thunder and Lightning possibly being in the area. Like, when do you think we should pull the red flag?
Let's wait. Oh, yeah, Jett got to third. Perfect. He's going to get the overall. Pull the red flag.
There are certain windows in certain situations that the red flag needs to get pulled immediately.
Yeah.
But like a weather situation like this, I feel like there needs to be a white flag and then a red flag.
Yeah, you got to at least give the guys one lap. Because AP wouldn't have done that.
AP, if AP knew that he had one more lap, he would have never pulled in and he could have just rode around that lap and finished it and Justin Cooper would have never passed him.
Yep.
And AP was trying to do the smart thing, probably had that pit
Save
stop.
his eyeballs.
Yeah. Or even talked about it even before the race even started. Be like, hey, if my goggles are thrown off, I'm going to go around one lap and the next lap I'm going to come in and get a fresh pair of goggles.
Yeah.
And
Eli was really the only one that was smart enough to wear roll-offs, right?
Yes. He made that decision on the gate.
Damn.
So, we can't be
because I like
penalizing riders for, making the smart decision and protecting their eyeballs with dirt clods and rocks getting thrown out their face.
Yeah.
We just got to give them a heads up if we can. Like, I think it should be implemented in the rule change as far as like weather condition red flags.
Yeah. And I do like that they pulled the red flag. I mean, dude, I don't want our guys jumping with metal on their bike in the air while lightning's coming down.
And I think regardless of that, I think it's like by law for an event, for the people even at the event, you got to, shut down the whole event.
Yeah.
If you're 10 mile, if you Thunder or Lightning's within the 10 miles.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on. Stan Benson Racing, 250 class. Degan goes 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
All business.
All business, bro. What do we think about Vialle, getting back on the podium?
I don't know. I'm just never impressed with Vialle. I know that sounds messed up. And like he's super, super solid. Like he's solid. He is fast. But every time I watch him, all I can think about is how he's going to do on a 450. And the way he rides and the way he gets the job done, that just doesn't cut it in the 450 class. And that's why I think I want to see more out of Tom Vialle. I mean, the guy's a multi-time champion over here, and then MXGP, he had an amazing career, right? Mm-hmm. And then he comes over here and it's just like, I guess there's not much exciting about him, which is good as a racer, mm-hmm. right? Because you're not really like doing crazy stuff, but you have to have some kind of sprint speed if you want to, if you're going to win in the 450 class or even be top 5.
Yeah.
And he just, the way he gets it done is not
when we know like he has to go 450 next year. It's hard to like not compare like his results and the way he rides the bike and envision that on 450 and you try to fit him in, and like, dude, he could easily be, 11 to 20.
Oh, that's where he's at. He's 11 to 20.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, like, let's put it this way.
10th is Cooper Webb, Cody Shock's 9th, RJ Hampshire's 8th, Jason Anderson 7th, Joey Savacci 6th.
He ain't in front of Cooper Webb. He's not in front of Cooper Webb. So that puts him in minimum 11th.
Mm-hmm.
So he's right around that Benoit Patarel, and that's without Jorge Prado in the mix. And I think Jorge Prado's better.
And that's
than
not
Vialle.
even Chase Sexton in the class.
Yeah. So really he's 13th with a couple guys out because Barsha's not in there too.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few other guys that are missing, and that's Malcolm Stewart getting hurt. And I don't think Malcolm, I think Malcolm beats Tom Vialle.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's my big thing right now is I'm not really, if this was just a regular 250 class and I didn't know he was moving up, I would probably be like, hell yeah, good to see Tom Vialle put himself back in the championship hunt. But I just keep looking bigger picture.
Yeah.
Tough.
Very tough. And then we have Levi Kitchen, who's just like...
I mean, that's the story we talked about at the beginning of the show, though.
I know, but it's so crazy to me.
Is it? Is it crazy?
Yeah.
It's not.
It's just who he is now, I guess.
Yep. He's got to get it figured out. He's getting better. But that's the story of Levi Kitchen. That's the story of Joe Shimoda. It's like, they have this top level potential, right? But they just need to keep getting better.
And then, dude, how funny is it seeing like in the start and like in some of the motos where there's like all the PC guys together or all the Star Racing guys like in the whole shot of the second moto.
I know it is kind of wild how close they all are.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's 100 of each of them. So it's kind of hard not to get them bunched up. Right?
It's very true. But like, and then like, I'm looking at it right now, like Seth Hammaker, 314.
He's got a shoulder injury. I'm giving him that. Right? Because the shoulder injury that he kind of got, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, that was we're going to talk about Seth Hammaker a little bit more later. But yeah, I mean, it's just tough when you go from Supercross to outdoor like that.
Yeah. And you haven't done it before.
And then you got Max Volan, who I thought was going to be better.
Mm-hmm.
You got Michael Moseman, who I thought, after watching him at Hangtown and seeing how fast he was, I thought that could be cool. We saw Caden Manier do really, really good off the start, which I think was a really bright, shining moment for him. And then another guy, Drew Adams, I thought, was going to really start to light it up, struggling. I just think that the class, I think we've talked about it, but the class is so deep in the 250 class right now, it just makes it really difficult.
Yeah, it makes it really difficult for everybody.
All right. Big L, Aturbis, Big L, Big Dub. Who we going with? Big L.
Big L, Chance Hymas.
Yep. blown out knee.
I mean, yeah, I saw the interview.
Pretty much could be out till Supercross.
Yeah, I saw the interview with Michael Lindsay and Lars, and he said, whatever it is, we don't really know much right now. And the knee's kind of tight, but it's, typically tight with the swelling and stuff. But whatever it is, it's not good.
So we're hoping for...
And that happened in the last half a lap or the last lap.
Yeah, we're hoping for torn meniscus.
Yeah, where it just gets cleaned up,
2 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks, and we're back on the way.
But pretty much if he tears anything in his knee, he's done.
And then does he have a messed up left knee right now too?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But no matter what, if you tear anything in your knee, you're done.
Yes.
Unless you're Jett. I don't understand all that. But Big
what do you
Dub.
mean? He was out for 4 months.
Who does? Yeah, 4 months is like nothing for a knee injury. Big Dub.
Oh, Big Dub?
Yep. I mean, we know who we want to pick.
Joey Savacci.
Yes. I don't know how he isn't on TV more.
I
feel like I don't even know he is there.
And then you look at the results and you're like, bro, he had a good day.
Good day or fantastic?
Yeah, great day. He went 8-6.
I mean, that's really, 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 really good.
Yeah. Basically on, a non-private team.
What do you think? Where do you think Ken Roxon would be if he was out there?
Probably right at like 1 to 5.
Podium?
1 to 5.
Think he'd be podium?
Yes.
You think so? Probably at High Point, huh?
Bro.
He almost beat
Jett last year.
Yeah. Or was that 2 years ago? Okay. Let's move on.
No, yeah, that was 2 years ago.
We're moving through it quick, but in the trenches.
Who
we picking? I was going to go with Seth Hammaker.
Seth Hammaker. Yeah.
I mean, dude, to me, in my eyes, after coming off that Supercross championship, like we talked about,
I don't know, but he hasn't had an outdoor season in such a long time. Like, how is he even in the trench? Like, he just got 314.
I know, but it's just
like in the trenches. This segment is like that guy who's just digging.
Okay, who is that guy then?
My boy who's digging a hole right now is Jorge Prado.
Well, what about who another guy who's digging that's really struggling to get out of a hole is Masterpool.
Dude, why does it seem like he's out of shape?
Because I think he is. I think he's out of shape. Or they talked about how Levi Kitchen gave him his nutritionist. He could be having, because I guess he threw up or something last week. But that could be altitude sickness, right? But like his nutrition, he got a nutritionist, so that could be the problem.
Yeah.
But something is making him to where he is not the old-time Masterpool that won High Point.
But I did like the battle that he had with Joe Shimoda. That was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Where they were kind of going back and forth.
Yep.
I would say Justin Cooper. My boy, he is so quick.
Yeah, but he's just not doing it. But I don't see. Does he really like High Point?
I'm going to pivot and
his bike looked fucking good, dude.
Bro, he's looking so good. But you know what James was saying on the broadcast? What it kind of made me think a little bit.
What?
Is, dude, like, Jett rides way different. Like, he knows, like, we got to get away from, like, the guys that are trying to catch Jett. You need to get away from, like, riding the bike harder in the obvious areas.
Yeah.
To make up speed.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, even AP, when he was, like, trying to catch Jett, he was trying to drive it in deeper and gas it out harder.
Yeah.
To get more speed. Like, he really needs to watch.
We've talked about this 100 times, though. You got to start figuring out how to get speed in other places.
What James was saying, too, was on the broadcast, what I thought was pretty genius was, like, also, like, Jett's very good at, like, connecting lines to not, like, go in the deep holes. And then what that reminded me of was Ryan Dungey. He would Ryan Dungey, when I would watch him ride, when I was like training down south, he would always turn in like underneath that foot of like the hole.
G out to keep the momentum going forward.
And to keep your bike from not dipping down.
Yes.
And Jett does that without you even noticing it.
Yeah,
that's why he stands up his bike, and then that's why his bike looks so settled all the time, because he's doing these little micro movements of keeping his bike out of those heavy holes.
Yeah, he's keeping the suspension the most level out of any guy on the track.
And when you keep your bike the most level, then you have the most traction, you have the most feel.
Yes.
And you're not
because you're
not just picking a point in your corner.
Yeah.
You're not picking a point in your corner to just go into the corner and out of the corner.
Yeah. You have the most consistent pressure under front and rear wheel at all times if you have the suspension at a more level state.
Yes.
Because the more you dip down, the more pressure, the more it's going to have to pop back up and recoil, less pressure.
Yep. But that's what I'm saying is like, I think a lot of these guys, they do watch a lot of film, I know, but like, we really need to start changing our look on how to get faster.
Yeah. All right, let's finish out the show. Does the zebra keep his stripes? Who we picking?
I don't want to do an obvious one.
Okay. Well,
I want to do AP.
Okay.
Are we going to continue seeing this uphill climb from AP and this aggressiveness, or do you think he kind of flattens out?
Plateaus?
Yes.
I was wondering the exact same thing, dude. Like,
and we're like right at the point where it's like gonna get one or another way.
Dude,
like,
have you seen the picture? Have you seen the meme of the miner guy? It's like a cartoon miner guy, and he's like chipping, and the hole that he's dug is like 100 foot long, and it's like a little mining guy, and he's like 3 inches from all the diamonds.
Yes,
that's AP right now. He's dug this 1,000-foot hole, and he just has to keep going. And he's this close to getting it, but he can't give up.
Yes.
You're so close, and you've worked so hard, and you want to give up, and you want to just say, damn, Jett's just that little bit level.
If you can hang on for like another 2 months, you're going to break into this upper echelon of speed that's going to make your career that much better.
Yes. But are you worried about the same thing I'm worried about?
I'm getting hurt.
Damn it. Why did you say it, bro? Knock on wood.
Because that's the only thing that's going to fucking derail the train.
Oh, I know. And I'm thinking about it right now. And I'm just praying, please, baby, 6 ounce, 8 pound Lord, baby Jesus, sitting in your little manger. Let AP stay healthy so we can get over this hump. Please. Yes. That's what he needs. If he can stay healthy
for the rest of the outdoor season and keep this aggressiveness and keep this, like, good things are going to happen. Like, he might get an overall win coming out of here. And then 2, going into SMX and going into next year, he's going to be one of the guys.
I love it. Well, that's a wrap for the show. We did a quick one for you guys. Tell me if you guys like that better or you like more analysis. You guys haven't? Like, subscribe on the YouTube channel. Tell your mom, tell your friend, tell your aunt, tell your uncle, tell your grandma. We appreciate you guys listening to Track Talkers. We thank you so much for being fans. Also, we love all the comments. You guys are sick. Yes. I read every single one of them, good and bad. So just know that I'm reading them. I'll try to reply to more of them. But it's hard because I get on the plane and I don't really have service, but I might just buy the Wi-Fi.
There you go.
And just reply to everybody. You never know. We appreciate you guys. Like I said, make sure you guys tune in weekly. We are going to have a couple new segments coming out this week that are going to be really cool.
And we're going to be doing some giveaways. Make sure you watch the show completely all the way through because the giveaways are going to be at the end of the show.
Yes. We are going to do some giveaways. We got some cool stuff. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week. We are going to do a show on the break, whether it's good, bad, indifferent, short, long, doesn't matter. We keep it going. So we'll see you guys next week. Peace.